Okay, try this again. This is the Yobokies coin edge for the coin edge bezel for the SKX013. And what I'm going to do is going to take this Scotch-Brite and just hold it here and rotate this so that I create a cylindrical brush pattern on this top edge here. You can see that it's all pretty much high polish, and I want it to be brushed, at least on that part, because the insert is brushed too, so it'll match better. And if I can, I'm going to also try to, if I can get focus, see the sides where the grip is. I'm going to try to get in there and see if I can somehow brush those out as well. We'll see. That might be a little bit trickier, but I think it'll add to the grip, and I think overall it'll look better if I brushed it out instead of left it high polish. And as you can see, it tapers up to the top, unlike most coin edge where it's just straight up and down, right? Should be fine. In a way, I think it'll make it look smaller because, you know, you don't have such a straight up and down like a bevel that comes straight out like that. At least so I think. You know, it doesn't look so tall and chunky. It looks more tapered, so in a way it should look slimmer. I don't know, but anyways, I'm going to brush it out and as much as I can, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Done. I just finish the sides. See if I can capture it better. There you go. You can see the top surface is also been brushed out and it's not as shiny, it's lost that high polish, which I prefer because the again, let's see if I can pop the sorry, 1 second while I put the camera down. Just quickly try to pop this open here. Okay, so using, this is from Lucious Atelier, and there you go. So that's why I wanted it to be brushed, because the high polish would have stuck out and made it less like one piece. I gotta find a spot, because for some reason this is mowed differently. I do wish it would sit more flush down with it. As it is, it has a slight, you know, edge that pops up. But you know what? No big deal. As long as it looks even enough all around, I think it'll be okay for the most part. And what am I gonna do, right? So what I have to work with. But yeah, I think that helped out. Brushing it out so then it looks all matte and almost like this could be one piece, almost. I mean, if I had brushed over it similarly, maybe it would have even more of a same finish, but that'll work. Yep, I always like this steel bezel over color. I mean, I do like some color ones, but I do like my steel bezel as well, as you might know from some of my past mods. And this does glow. Do I have my light here? Oh, here it is. Where'd it go? This is surprisingly weak ass light, but you can start to see it there. Really black light. UV. There you go. So this would be, well, it may look green here, but it is blue. It's BGW9, so it'll be pretty cool. And yeah, that should be that. There's the adhesive there, but of course I can't put that on until I've secured this in, check the clicking, and once I get it in a good spot that I think I want to, you know, settle on, check the back plate once it's on the case, and then carefully align it and then stick and drop it in, and that'll be aligned with everything else in the bezel, right? So that's it. Oh, and I'm gonna put these back, but just quickly show you. I guess this is technically part 3, phase 3 Took the case apart. I did pop the crystal out. I think I mentioned it last time because it was crooked, and I popped it off and I reset it, and now it's even all the way around. I'm not going to use that, and it did get kind of jacked up when I removed it. I don't know if you can see it got lifted up because the crystal came out crooked, and I think it hit the inside of that aluminum bezel, stock one, and it lifted it up. That's why the pip should be flush with it, right? It's somewhere in there. The case back I'm going to keep. The clip for the bezel, of course. I'm not going to use the dial or the chapter ring. I think the dial got a little bit scuffed up when I was trying to remove it. The hands did not want to come out, at least not the way I planned to. Some of the stock parts are in here. Hold on. So this is what was the movement. I did switch. Oh, that was it. I switched the clip. You can't see it here. It's the movement. That's NH36 is in here, but it had the gray one, and it's a bit thicker in diameter. After I quickly test fitted it, tried to put it in that case, and it kind of went in, but it was a bit tight and didn't really want to sit flat, I think. And I checked the diameter, like looking around. This gray piece on that movement with the stock NH36 versus the stock, NH36 versus the 7S26 from the SKX, and it had the black one, and that one is thinner on the diameter, so that's why I could probably slip into this a little bit better. So I did end up, I went the lazy route. I think ideally, see that clip right there, if it was aligned and attached to the movement, that goes somewhere underneath the that date disc. It's partially covered it, and then ideally you should take off this day wheel, and then the date disc, which requires some unscrewing and lifting off of some plates, and then you can get to that, lift that off and get that clear. But then there's a bunch of loose parts there, and I'd probably have to secure it down before I attempted to handle this and unclip this off of the movement. So some suggestions, and I kind of did this before. The lazy way was to carefully lift the date disc up on the sides where it's near this clip, just enough for it to just pass and get around it without damaging it or anything else internally. And that's what I did, and I checked the movement, and it seems like everything's fine. And because I did do that on one of my other bills, I think. I needed swap the plastic retainer ring space, or whatever you call it, and I think it somehow, the way I pulled it out and the date wheel moved, it kind of put some stress or something on one of the cogs or sprockets, and it broke one of the tooth. Luckily I had a spare movement to kind of cannibalize and use and fix it, but luckily it didn't happen this time, at least not on, maybe I haven't checked this, but maybe not in here. It shouldn't be. I checked it. So this, I don't know, 7S2X. I don't know what I'm going to do. Spare parts again. And that's pretty much it here. I have my dial somewhere. Probably slipped it away. I have to dig it out. The dial that Lucious Atelier. I think it's actually maybe in here. Okay, yeah. So what I got to do now for this is basically snip off. There's two sets of feet, one for crown at 3, one at 4. I just got to match it with what's on the back of this, especially one with the crown at the 4. So I'm going to keep this around as reference, so I make sure I clip off the right ones. Then I can mount that to the movement, and that should be set. And then I'm just waiting for my hands, basically. It's pretty much the last thing. Some DOW hands, Black Marine Masters, mix and match, and I got like their blades, seconds hand instead. You understand why once I put it together, why I didn't go with the Marine Master seconds hands, which are cool, but I'm trying something different. So anyways, can't wait to get this done. Once those hands come in, basically I just got to check the loom, make sure it matches this potency, because they're different. This is BGW9. Actually, no, is it? It's C3. And the one is green, the DOW is green, but I think it's like C1 or something, so it's a little bit weaker. Yeah, if it is, then I might need to clear it off and re-loom it, but I do want to try to keep the loom white, and I believe the DOW has white loom in it. So what I might try to do, if that loom seems a little bit weaker or not as long lasting as I would like, I might just try to apply some of my own loom on the back side just to reinforce it, and maybe it might help give some glow through from the bottom up, you know what I mean? Has some extra loom material even underneath it. If it gets charged, it should divert some of that light energy that it's getting, it's received and pumping back out in the glow through the DOW's loom paint. So my theory in my head, I think that's how it's going to be, because I really don't want to, because I don't have any real white loom paint. That's always going to be a little bit off, maybe slightly yellow or greenish, light greenish even at best. I mean, I don't want to spend like this real BGW9 or even C3 or, you know, real super luminova paint is quite expensive. I think even the smallish, looking at 70, 80 bucks, maybe close to $100 depending on the amount. And I don't feel like doing that just for a couple of hands. So if I can get away with the DOW, hopefully it's just as good as the Yobokies one, then I'm set. If not, I might have to reinforce it with some of my own loom paint, just even a light coat on the back just to help it out some. Yeah, and that'll be it. And you know, I have some little tweaks to those hands additionally, and then I'll go in, slap it all together, and boom. So the next part might be the dial and the hands on this in this build. All right, thanks. Bye. I was using that little bit of a 3M Scotch-Brite pad, and you can see if I can focus this. I've been brushing out all around the perimeter, and I think it helps. I can definitely feel a difference in the grip versus where's the high polish side, right? Let's see. Right about here, I think is polished. Right here. Yeah, actually, I think it's right about right around. I've only had like this quarter or fifth of it left. Let's see if I can see the effect as I go to. See, this is where it's brushed. You can see it's toned down. It's not as shiny. It looks more like a grip to me, and I think, right, let's see, here we go. This is still high polish side. You can see it's got that shine to it. I don't know, I didn't want that. I like it more tooly, so I brushed it, and I went down like along the grain, I guess, the grooves or the cuts, whatever you call it, the channels. Follow that instead of going across it. Just because I think it would make more sense that it follows the lines that are in here. Additionally, if I try to brush across this way, there's less chance that the, where is it? The sanding pad material would be able to get down into the crevices much, right? Because it's going across the ridges this way versus, you know, it has to work its way down past it versus if you went down this way, obviously the channels are kind of, they're open this way, so it can just kind of fall into it already. So I don't expect to get all the way in there, which is fine, but most of the surfaces, as you can see, if I can focus this, is pretty, you know, toned down. Where's the bling part? Maybe you can see it here more. Yeah, definitely right here. You can see the shininess versus this side. You see that the reflection? It's not as shiniest right here. Yeah, and it feels better. It feels more grippier when it's high polish, even though it's got these, you know, ridges or whatever, the grips here, but it still doesn't work as well as having it more brushed and matte finish. So I'm doing that first, and then I'm going to go around this way. That's because I'm going across this way. That top edge, if I can focus it again, that top edge will probably catch some of that, and it could be uneven, you know, versus when I put it across and run it around this way, it'll brush it back out and it'll, you know, make it clean, I guess, on top. Versus when I was just brushing down this way, it can be kind of patchy. So if I put the pad on top here, and then, you know, you can imagine rotating it this way, it'll clean up that edge there, and that should be it. I wouldn't worry about the bottom if it's a little bit shiny. You know, a little accent doesn't hurt, but overall I prefer this to be more matte. So that's how that's going, and I think it's working. All right.